Okay. So we will start now. So hello everyone. My name is Ijoma Adesonia, and I'm the founder of Kobikam Africa. We are glad you can join us today for the Shikan Initiative webinar series. So we started this the first week in February, and we have it every Friday till the end of February. So we had our first session last week, and this week we'll be focusing on how to establish a unique brand identity. So before we meet our speakers, I just wanted to talk briefly about Kobikam Africa and the Shikan Initiative. Mimi, you can go to the next slide. So we're basically a gender advisory and advocacy consultancy, and we focus on pretty much advancing women in Africa. Our goal is to contribute to the fulfillment of women by fostering and enabling a society and business environments that empowers them personally and professionally. Kobikam Africa, so when we say professionally and no, you can go back to the other slide. We're not done yet. Okay. Nimi, can you go back to the other slide? Yeah. So on an individual level, this is where the Shikan Initiative comes in, and we're pretty much focused on encouraging and equipping female entrepreneurs to grow and scale their businesses. So we offer coaching sessions. We currently have free coaching sessions till the end of March. So if you're interested, go to our website and sign up. And we also offer various tools which we'll be launching soon that help you to grow your business. So thank you everyone for joining, and I'll move on to present our lovely speakers. So we have two brand specialists on the call, and I'll start with Kets. So Khetsiwe Dlamini is a creative like no other. Her dynamic attention to detail and curiosity has made her a force to be reckoned with in her industry with over 10 years of experience. This results-driven marketing professional possesses the enviable skill to concurrently coordinate a myriad of tasks to perfection. Her professional career began in the Kingdom of Eswatini at House on Fire, which hosts the world-renowned MTN Bushfire Festival in March 2011, where she worked as the events manager. In continuing to build her professional repertoire and with a keen interest in exploring opportunities that provide a continuing challenge and professional growth, Ms. Dlamini spent several years building a reputation as a corporate marketing professional, holding various positions at Parmalat and Eswatini Beverages until founding Red Note Africa in 2019. So thank you, Kets, for being on, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much. What a privilege and honor it is to be on the panelist for today and sharing with women amongst the continent. I think it's a passion point for mine. So it was just a no-brainer for me to take up this opportunity.
Awesome. So I would introduce Blessing next. Blessing Abeng is a branding and communications expert. She helps brands discover their value and unique identity to communicate and tell better stories. She builds brand and communication strategies around products, services, growth, and sales. She has worked with brands across industries in unique capacities, nationally and globally, including Seed Stars, Facebook, Tylo, Diageo, Heritage Bank, African Alliance, Dark and Lovely, Bolt, Alomo Bitters, GSK, Lights Camera Africa, Lemi Garioku, Victor Ehi Kemeno, Angels and Muse, Quick Check, and so many others. She's the Director of Communications at Ingressive for Good, where she supports the nonprofit's mission to create and increase African youth's earning power through tech training and resources. She has trained over 5,000 creators through workshops in branding, communications, marketing, business, and tech. She currently curates and nurtures a growing community of over 40,000 individuals looking to learn about communication with their customers, branding, building communities, and leveraging technology tools for growth. So thank you, Blessing, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So we'll start with Khet. Khet is going to have a presentation for a short while, and then she would speak as well. So if we can have Khet's presentation up.
Sure. Will you share the screen, or should I go ahead and share mine?
No, we'll share it now. It's up now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. I will be covering storytelling for brands. Next slide, please. So this is a quote I truly believe in, and it's by Jeff, the CEO of Amazon, that says your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And storytelling is such a critical part of building your brand, because if you think about it, we're natural storytellers. We all grew up with our grandmothers, our mothers telling us stories. And it's really through stories that we can share our passions, our fears, our hardships, and our joys. And that's where we find common ground with people. And stories are really universal. Next slide, please. So what is storytelling? It's a narrative that to connect your brand to your customers, focusing on linking what your values stand for and what what values you share with your customers. So it's truly the bridge between the two of you. And it's a powerful tool because you can use it to build compelling stories, engage with your customers, evoke their emotions, and forge meaningful relationships. And it allows companies to tap into that basic human need for building authentic connections. And it's important because this is how it shapes how people view you and how your consumers can then begin to forge that connection between the two of you. Next slide, please. So I want you to look at 4 things that make a powerful story. The first one is that it must be clear. It must be told simply and easily understood. You don't want people to watch your advert or your story on Instagram and not understand what your product is about. And because we're so busy with so many channels going on at once, it must be cut through. It must break through the noise. And then it must be compelling. It must give a call to action. There must be an emotional impact or a change of behavior that comes from it. And of course, it must always be consistent with your brand, in line with who you are. And the best stories don't have to be 30-second ads. Next slide, please. So how do you know when it's right? So simply, storytelling when done right will pull a consumer into the world of a brand to see a different perspective, showing them a bigger picture. The story is an invitation for someone to participate in something bigger than themselves and something they want to believe in. Next slide. So what's the best way for you to understand this is by telling you who's mastered storytelling and giving you real life examples. And through this, I hope to inspire you guys, but also give you different perspectives of the possibilities. There's no one way, but there are different ways to pull at consumers to best tell your story. So I'm going to share a few which I believe have mastered it. First of all, we have Airbnb. So for those of you who may not know Airbnb, they don't own a single property, but on their page, you can go in and book a room. And it initially started as homeowners' rooms, but now it's expanded into hotels, into lodges. And this has become very, very popular. So the interesting thing here is both the host and the guests are the brand. Their philosophy is built on storytelling. So this platform solves a point. And for any traveler, you don't know what to expect when you get there. I know I always have questions like, is there a gym? what's happening there, what can I do when you go out. So on this platform, people are able to share their experiences, and they give an authentic travel experience, because there's nothing like hearing from a friend or someone you know that what is it like. And this is why we're seeing a big influx in influencers, which are getting paid to go review these places. Airbnb knows this philosophy, so much so that they've made a section on stories from the Airbnb community, where you're able to go in and share your story of your experience at a certain B&B. And on YouTube, they've seen over 234,000 subscribers, which frequently update their stories, their reviews, and their profiles. So this company has really lived out storytelling, and that's the main philosophy it's built on. The next one, House of B&G, one of my faves. So an incredible brand is really built on visual storytelling. They've now got 86,000 followers on Instagram, and it is built around authentic storytelling, which is key to building a successful lifestyle brand. They've created a compelling story, so consumers will look at the page and you'll feel like it's relatable content. I would like to be on a ship somewhere sipping B&G with my friends. And it makes it aspirational for the consumer, but yet it's attainable. And the unique thing with House of B&G, we all know it's Bonang's brand, but also that, you know, in this case, she is the face of the product, but we can still relate and want to be that powerhouse while having champagne in different locations. So they really embody the lifestyle through what they project on the Instagram profiles. The next one, please. And then the last example that I have for you is the Nike campaign. If you remember during lockdown, this emotive story probably almost broke the internet. So it was around June, July when the campaign broke out, "You Can Stop This," with incredible visuals. And here, it was a collective movement. It was pushing us to do something bigger than ourselves. And from Nike themselves, they say, because of the emotional ties, that is what builds long-term relationships with consumers. And that's what our campaigns are about. Our advertising ties a link to consumers to the Nike brand through emotions of sports and fitness. We show competition, determination, achievement, fun, and even spiritual rewards of participating in those activities. So if you remember back in the beginning where I said it helps us find that common ground because you go through all these emotions. And watching that clip, it wasn't a 30-second clip. It was actually just about 2 minutes. But you followed through because it captured the emotions, and you could feel that disappointment of maybe not doing so well in sports, or when Serena won, and it really touched our emotions. So this one really touched on the emotions and was a great example of storytelling. If you haven't watched it, please do get on YouTube and watch it after this one. Next slide, please. So just to wrap, the things I want you to take away from is that you need to break through the clutter with your brand. You need to clearly articulate its values and keep in mind the 4 C's. Be clear, be cut through, be compelling, and be consistent. But also remember that stories are universal. So be authentic. It will naturally flow in line with your brand. Thanks. That's the last slide.
Yeah, that's the last slide. Okay, thanks, Khet. I love the 4 C's. I think that's something to note down. I don't know if Nimi can put it back up while we have Blessing put on her video. Okay, Blessing is back. Thank you so much, Khet. Blessing, we can't hear you.
I was asking if people were going to ask Khet questions.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Does anyone have any?
Please go ahead. Sure. I'm patient.
You can
Sure, happy to answer.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat if you have any questions. And you can also ask at the end. So Blessing, we'll just go on.
Perfect. So thank you guys for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here again. And today our conversation is going to revolve around building a unique identity. And while we're talking about unique identity building, it's very important to start with misconceptions that a lot of people have. So yesterday, I spoke to a friend of mine who I was meeting for the very first time. Like, we'd been friends online for a very long period of time. And then, we've just never met physically. So we just met for the first time yesterday. And we had the most profound conversation. And in that conversation, we said, did you know, that people who say, oh, I'm very confident, I want to go on stage, I always want to speak, I want to always be in front, and all of those people, they're not very different from people who say, oh, I'm shy, I don't want to climb the stage, I don't want anybody to see my face. And I know you're wondering, but those are very different people. What connects them? It is the story that they tell themselves. A lot of people have built their identity around the story. So the day that I am shy guy or I am shy lady, doesn't get the opportunity, like if you keep telling her, oh, you're not shy now, when people tell you, oh, I'm shy, you're not be gisting with them like, no, you're not shy. You're one of the most confident people I know. You can do this. They enjoy that. If you take that away from them, who then are they? Or from all those very confident people who, are always confident and talking and everything, the day you tell them, oh, tone it down a little, and they actually tone it down a little, who are they? So we have built our ideologies and our perceptions around the stories we've told ourselves over a while to say, this is who I am. And who I am, and I tell everyone, when people ask you, dear Blessing, tell me about yourself at interviews and things like that, a lot of people stutter. And I don't blame you for stuttering, because who you are is not one thing. It is a middle point between who you were and who you want to be. And so it can be really tricky to be able to define yourself. So I'm going to help you with a few tips that have helped me, with figuring out identity. If you've ever taken any of my branding classes, one of the first conversations I would have with you is self-awareness, because branding doesn't start until there is a level of self-awareness. So you need to understand, who am I, at least right now, versus who do I want to be? And having that frank conversation with yourself gives you a better view, keeps your eyes clearer, and allows you to be able to do more things than you thought you were capable of. So let's start with answering the question, who are you? One of the key ways I think you can figure out who you are is first asking yourself why. So this is always counterproductive. I've seen a couple of TED Talks that say, oh, don't ask yourself why, because you might end up in this ripple effect that would make you not answer the actual question, something like that. And there are two ways to figure it out: by asking yourself why, and then asking yourself what. So why are you the way you are right now? Like, what kind of, asking yourself why, what, and then the what's are in two ways. So what's the reason I do the things that I do? Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I hate it when people shout at me? Is it because it makes me feel small? Is it because my dad used to shout at me a lot, so now this is how I'm responding? Just asking yourself very frank questions. It is really difficult to do, I wouldn't lie. It's a very difficult thing to do, but sitting with yourself and having frank conversations with yourself. Why did I react the way I reacted? Why did I do this? Why do I want to build a unique identity, which is super important as well? Why do I want to be the person that I said I want to be? In doing this, I have also realized in personal branding conversations that I have had and sessions that I have had, a lot of people want to do things just because Netflix told them that that's how they should be, or movies they watched told them that that's the epitome of success. So we want big houses, we want big cars, designer clothes and everything, not because we really want them, but just because, we have formed a story again in our head to say that, If I don't have big cars, I am nothing. Or if I don't have designer shoes, I'm not rich. And so like just really, really understanding like why do I want the things I want and why do I do things that I do form a very good background and foundation for you to begin to build on. So next question you want to ask is, what do I want and why? Why do I want the things that I say that I want, right? And you move from there, to figuring out what are my values, what are the things that matter to me. I notice that a lot of people, if I ask you what are your personal values or what I call values, people just start ranting: integrity, excellence, which literally you would be able to find on Instagram or Google if you Googled it or searched for it. But like asking yourself, what kind of things do I never want to be caught doing? What kind of things do people do that hurt me so bad, that I almost feel like I can't forgive them? Those kind of questions or finding those kind of things help you see that, oh, okay, I take truth very personally, or maybe you can lie to me, but don't ever, backbite about me. I take integrity very seriously. Or maybe I take inclusivity very seriously. I don't like people being left out. So like just, again, it's you just being self-aware enough to sit down and ask yourself a couple of questions. I think I have a guide, that can really help you uncover these things, and luckily it's free. So maybe when I'm done, I would send to the group, to the admin, and then the admin would be able to share with everybody who registered for this program. So when you're done with that, branding is really about like your intended brand being equal to, or at least almost close to, your perceived brand. So your branding, your identity is not just about you, it's also about the people who interact with you. So now, how does that join, right? How does it connect? Reach out to 5 of your closest friends and ask them, what 5 adjectives would you use to describe me? Why again is this important? Because you would have written your own 5 adjectives down. So write your own 5 adjectives first, and then reach out to 5 friends and say, what 5 adjectives would you use to describe me? These 5 adjectives will help you see which ones do I agree with, which ones, how do my friends see me versus how I see myself. And if there is like a level of consistency in all 5 friends, your eyes, your eyes will open up to it. So again, you need to see yourself through your eyes and then through other people's eyes, right? And it's important that you only go to people who are close to you, because, strangers can misread you, but your people who are in your circle will tell you the truth, at least the people you trust. Don't tell them what you're using it for. Don't just be like, please, you can even send a text message now. What 5 adjectives will you use to describe me? Just send it to a friend or 5 friends. Can you guys no longer hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Please, in the chat boxes, just let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can actually.
Okay, so Lynette, I think it might be your internet. Sorry. Okay, so back to me and this beautiful advice and assignment that I'm giving you in terms of advice, as you may have noticed. So yes, when you're done doing that, I know at the end of the day, you still be asking me, how does this help you, build your identity? You're getting there. So when you're done with all of this exercise and you've asked 5 of your friends, what adjectives describe me, and you've asked yourself also, me, person, what 5 adjectives describe me, and you've been able to see where do they link, where do they not link, what do I like about what my friend said, and what do I not like about what my friend said, what are my strengths, what are the things that I wish I could change about myself. When you've written all those things down, you'll feel a certain level of lightness. You'll feel like, okay, there is clarity. And that's like the best foundation for you to start. Because again, branding is about your identity, your communication, and then your credibility. You cannot communicate what you don't know. A lot of people, you ask, what personality do you exude? And they're like, oh, I'm an extrovert, I am an introvert, I am bubbly, but that's not enough. Like, yes, you're an extrovert, you're an introvert, but like, could we go a little deeper? So another assignment, visit 16personalities.com, 16personalities.com, and take the test. Be as honest as you can, and just take the test and see how it goes. When you take that test, read the thing that the auto generator generated for you. Again, you don't have to agree with it, but just look at it and say, okay, these are the things that I agree with. Maybe this part really describes me, but this part does not describe me. I've also noticed that a lot of us know how we are. It's just we can't articulate it. So that's one of the things that platform gives you, a way to articulate the problems that you might be facing, or like how to describe yourself a little better. So now, moving on from all of these amazing things that I've told you, how then do you begin to uncover yourself, finding your unique identity? A lot of people like to describe themselves based on what they do, which is not a bad approach. But is who you are really what you do? Not really. I've come to see that, who you are can be pretty consistent. It would evolve, but it is pretty consistent. There are things, for example, me, I am a sucker for excellence. I love things being excellent. Doesn't mean I would let myself be, pressured by procrastination and not release stuff. But I really, really love that anything I touch, I have to put my best in it. I hold it to my heart. It's very important to me that anything I do comes out really great. And so no matter what I do, even if I'm dancing or I'm eating, I have to eat with excellence. I have to dance with excellence. I have to jump with excellence. So I don't define myself by what I do, because I may not do that thing forever. And that's something we need to be comfortable with. So even if you are a great designer, you might be a designer now, but you might evolve into something else, like an architect or an experienced designer. You're still a designer, but you're now an experienced designer. You don't have to always come back and tell us, oh, I'm so sorry, guys, I've changed my mind. It doesn't have to be that way. So first, define yourself based on your personality, your values, things that matter to you. Define yourself based on, things that would take a while to evolve. Like, just define yourself based on your ideologies and the things that you hold dear. And then take those ideologies and soft skills and marry them into your work life. Now, going into the work life part, we now have conversations about niching. Niching is a very tricky thing. So I see that, a lot of people get confused. And I would say, depending on where you are in life, not everybody needs to find their niche now. So first, if you haven't done anything in your life before, maybe you're just graduating from school and that's all you know, you don't have to rush to go and niche. Use the first 1 year to explore. Find things you like to do and just, do them, try them, learn them. Speaking on learning, I find that a lot of people take a lot of courses, enroll for classes, come to our webinars and listen to this conversation, and that's all. We write, fill the book, but we never practice. And so have you really learned? Quick story. So during the lockdown, I was very paranoid about COVID. So one of the things I didn't do was buy bread from bakeries. So I didn't buy any bread from bakeries. So I decided, because I really like bread, by the way, wink, wink, if you're here and you like bread, we're sisters and we're connected. So I really wanted to eat bread. And so the next thing I did was I told myself that I could bake bread. That, is there anything we can't do on YouTube? We will bake this bread. So I went ahead and, I had everything in the house. I done all that shopping. So we had flour and everything. So like, let me bake this bread now. It can't be that hard. People are baking it every day. And so I went ahead and I tried to bake bread. Guys, this story, it's true. It actually happened. And I watched the tutorial. The tutorial was like 2 minutes. It wasn't a long tutorial, very less than 5 minutes tutorial, very short and spicy. And I'm like, is it just, so these are days to bake bread, and I've been spending my 200 naira or 400 naira every day on bread. I start baking my bread. That's what I told myself. So that was like, yeah, it was less than 5 minutes. I watched the tutorial twice. Then I followed the tutorial step by step. When I started following the tutorial step by step, I realized that baking bread takes more than 5 minutes. In fact, it doesn't even take 30 minutes. It takes like 1 hour plus, because the yeast has to rise, the something has to rise, you have to keep it here, keep it there. It's just so annoying. My first bread was pretty perfect for a first timer. So the second time, I just felt like super proud. I didn't think that I wanted to use the recipe again. I just did what I wanted. And the second time, my bread was a fail. Messed it up. Totally was a mess. And then the third time, I followed the recipe again and I got better. And over time, now I can bake bread with my eyes closed. And for the first time in my life, practice made perfect finally made sense, because practice made perfect is a story on learning. We teach you here for 30 minutes, 1 hour. Whoever is teaching you in a course will teach you for 5 hours, something that you're going to probably have to learn for 2 years. And so the only way you truly, truly learn is by doing. So by the time you've taken all those courses and you want to do all these great things, which is interesting, but until you try your hands on those things, you will never know. It was after I tried my hand, I realized that, abroad oven may not be the same as Nigerian oven. Weather conditions might affect the time in which my own rises versus their own rising. Like just different scenarios. And so putting myself, understanding what scenario my life is in and, adjusting to fit my scenario is where the real learning comes through from. So don't just take everything I am teaching you right now and, just do it verbatim and never do anything else. Put in extra efforts to adjust whatever you've learned from I and Khet, as that's where the real learning happens, really. Just adjust to fit your life. So coming back to adjusting to fit your life, I was telling you, take 1 year off if you've never done anything. 1 year, 2 years, discover. Don't feel pressured by, everybody on Instagram is saying this, everybody is doing this. No, you're not everybody. We will not all succeed by following the exact same template. Beyonce, Rihanna, and Adele, very different musicians, but we're different fans. They're all Grammy winners. Everybody still loves them. So understanding that your uniqueness, which may stem from your personality or your values or your innate belief or something else that is not necessarily just exactly what you do, is what's going to help you shine through. Adele is an introvert. At least that's what she shows us. Sia is even worse. But Sia is also about but Sia is also very introverted and she's almost like she's super successful. Rihanna is more extroverted and she's also successful, right? Putting this down back into business branding, while you're doing all these things, remember that as a business as well, you always have to think about yourself like a human being, which is what I tell all my clients when I first meet them. Your business has to have a personality, because behind every business is a human being as well. So don't feel like, I am a business. I'm such a business, so we cannot be doing things the way human beings do them. Not completely true. Also, because if I ask you now, what is the personality of First Bank? In fact, describe First Bank with a Nigerian Nollywood star. Oh yeah, answers in the chat. You guys, go ahead. Assignment. Describe First Bank with a Nigerian Nollywood star. How would you describe First Bank? If First Bank was a human being, Nollywood actor, who would First Bank be? You guys, go ahead. Come on. Chat. I'm not seeing the chats move. Okay. People, where is it? I can't see the chat. Okay, I see you. Peter Doche. Okay, thank you so much, Uzo. All right. More people, guys. Please just answer me now. I don't have a lot of time. Just want to hear all the amazing things I want to tell you. Just send me. Describe. Don't be shy. Tell me. RMD. All right, guys. Peter Doche, RMD. Omotola. Okay. I love it. One more so that I can. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for participating. That wicked lady. Are you talking about patience or so? Wow. Wow. Okay. So now, second test. Describe GTV with a celebrity, Nigerian celebrity, any Nigerian celebrity. It doesn't have to be actress, actor, whatever. Just like describe GTV with a Nigerian celebrity. Energy, guys, energy. Faster. There's no first position. No answer is wrong, exactly. So I'm waiting. Banky W, Beverly Osoke, Davido, okay. Yemi Alade again. Genevieve, okay. Yemi Alade, I take it. Okay. Thank you guys so much. So now this quick test, quiz kid. All right, beautiful. So this quick test was just to show you the difference. That whether or not we like it, at the back of our minds, we are comparing, like we know We know the personalities of this brand. So completely agree with Peter Doce. Completely, because I completely agree with every old person you mentioned as First Bank, because First Bank is an old bank, it's an old generational bank. And I just wish they would just embrace that as opposed to trying to be millennial. Because even in their oldness, whenever you have old money, there's the kind of money you would make, you remove it from GT Access and go and put it in First Bank because old money lives there, right? And so if they give you the Peter Doce vibe, they're right. And guess what? Peter Doce still trends on Instagram and Twitter. Like, he still trends. We still post about him. We can still connect with him because we have father figures in our lives. We have older people in our lives. And so we get this. Also, when I asked you GTV, you told me Banky, Whiskey, Davido. Why? Because GT is supposed to be young, youthful, and vibrant. So assignment again, because I know like people don't learn by just gisting. You learn by doing, as I said earlier. So you're going to take a lot of assignments. Next time, don't invite me to your events. We don't want to do assignments. So my people, next up, if you have businesses and say if this business was a human being, who would I want this business to be like? And embody that personality. Don't just say, because I like Oprah. Oprah is so inspiring and whatnot. You can't just decide based on Oprah that you want your business to be like Oprah. Instead, you're going to think, who is my customer? Who are the people that I want to interact? Who are the people that I want to reach? Right? And based on those people that I want to reach, what is the personality I have to embody versus my current personality that I have now? What's the personality I also have to embody to be able to reach these people? So if my brand was like an always ultra, I would probably want to be like your friend or your sister or your mother. Like I would want to pick a personality and a tone and a vibe that matches somebody in your life that you would listen to. So not a lot of people really want to talk to their mothers about periods in Africa, maybe in the US, but not necessarily in Africa. So if you take a motherly approach, it's not a bad thing. It might just be like you did not research your audience well. But maybe if you're like a big sister, it might fly better because as a big sister, I want to listen to you. You're more relatable. You're fun, but not too fun. You are helpful, but not too rigid. Like just all of those kind of things. And if you hear me, I'm describing adjectives because it is based on this adjective. You now know how you want to say, is your period happening today? So now let's do test. Mother period. Hey. Yeah, no, but this is all women are being. All women are being. Is a chicane initiative. Any guy that joined here with a woman's name, sorry, do you understand? Hence, period is an appropriate conversation. So let's say, so I want to talk to you about your flow, and I want to tell you how to, take care of yourself during your flow. Or no, I want to ask you if today you had your period, right? As a mother, I might come in and be like, hello, wait, no. I could say hello, and I could say, what could I say? You're probably going through your period today, and that's fine. Here are like 5 steps that you could take to da. And based on that 5 steps, I will now, because I'll be a little bit serious, but a little bit touching, right? And daring. Or maybe I could start with like, hello, dear. You must be going through a lot of pain today. Here are 5 things that could help you, navigate that pain better. It is so serious, I mean. But from your friend, I'm like, hi, did the Red Queen come over today? Here are 3 things you could probably do to, feel better in no time. And so I've said the same thing, but the energy, the tone, the vibe, the words that I'm using are different. And so even as a personal brand and as a business, it's always going to be important to say, who are the people that I want to reach? What kind of people are they? What kind of words are they using to describe their problems? Because while they don't know you, they know the problem that they're facing. So what kind of words am I using to describe their problems? What kind of words are they using to describe their problems? And then how can I, relay those solutions back using the words that you're using? So I could come here and talk to you about ROI and, I don't know, there's so many branding words that exist, but it would probably fly over your head because it's not something that is important to you. What you would be asking me is, how can I be unique in my field? And so I would have to come here and speak to you in words that you understand. But if I was having a professional conversation with my like other people in branding, my conversation would, but the words that I'm using would be different, even if I am still teaching about the same thing. So pay attention to the words that your audience is using. Also, mentally segment your audience into your, let's call them your audience. Mentally segment your target market into two, your audience and your customers. Now, who are your audience? Your audience are the people who need your product. You know, these people need it. They'll follow you on Instagram when you're sharing tips to help them. You know, they just need it. They just need, you know, that's how need is. They need it, so they'll follow you. If you share something, they will buy. I mean, they will not buy, but they will follow you. They would like, they would probably comment. They're even very active or comment. They will probably subscribe to your email. But guess what? Only 1 to 5%. In fact, if you're lucky, let's say 1 to 10% of those people in your audience will ever buy from you. Why? Because your customers are a little bit more specific than that. So your customers are people within a said demography, or I mean, your audience are within a said demography. I would explain that again. But like your customers, these are the 3 things that separate them from your normal audience people. Number 1, they need it, like your audience. But number 2, they're willing and able to buy it. You're willing and then also able to buy it. And then number 3 is that they can buy it again. Why is this important? Apple is not going to make sales if you only buy Apple second-hand phone. Apple is also not going to make great sales if you only buy it once and go. That's why they bank on you to be upgrading every year. iPhone 10, iPhone 12, iPhone 100. They'll be bringing it. Then you now do AirPod. Very soon, Air speaker. They'll be doing like different things to make sure that you are always buying from them. So if you notice, most Apple users will continue to buy other Apple products. Most people who have Benz will probably upgrade, like people who bought new Benz, not the people who bought the other one, but like new Benz. They would probably upgrade to buy more newer versions of Benz. I'm sorry, they'll buy newer versions of the Benz, or they will buy other cars and things that they need within the Benz family. Right? You see how that makes sense? So if first you are noticing that people within your audience are never buying, maybe you have attracted the wrong audience. Maybe you did not think too deep about the demography. Do they really need it? How old are they? Now, remember that your target market does not mean that people outside your target market would like not buy. It just means that while people outside your target market might buy, the people who are capable of, you know, engaging, buying again and again and again are within this specific group of people, maybe 20 to 40. If you were doing Pampers ads, you would not be like, your target market is 0 to 60. Because again, while it's babies who use Pampers, they're not the ones who buy Pampers. So while your communication, you know, while you're communicating, you have to do your communication to be geared towards the parents seeing how their baby's comfort is, you know, comforting them as well. Not that, oh, baby, oh, come and buy. You'll not be speaking tata, cuckoo, oh, chiki. No, it's not going to sell Pampers for you. So now come back again to where we were talking about niching. So I know that a lot of people struggle with niching, and these are a few tips that can help you while you're niching. So think about, what kind of people do I first want to attract? Then also write down your passions, your skills, and then write down things that you're knowledgeable about. And then also write down needs that the people that you want to target have. And then figure out which ones will people pay for. When you find the sweet spot within all of those things, pick those ones out. And then begin to, you know, hone in on, are there 2 here that I can combine? Should I start with one and expand into the other? Also pay attention to the fact that not all skills should be monetized. So quick secret, I can dance. I used to know how to dance. Yeah, a while ago when I was younger, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like a good dancer. And so I still can move my body now, but I wouldn't say like I'm a great dancer. And when I was trying to figure out what to, you know, zero in on, I could have said dancing was an option, but I knew very clearly that, you know, while I like dancing could be a support. It could be a catalyst to where I was going. So now on my Instagram, I may dance 1 or 2 times, you know, this is like dance, and it doesn't hurt anybody. It gives me more followers. My audience get to connect with me better. It's like, oh, I see this side of Blessing that I don't know that really exists, you know, and it's so much fun. And that makes everything more exciting. I also know how to gist, as you will be able to tell from this conversation, that I can gist. But does that mean I should become an OAP? Not really, right? Just means that I should probably take my skills of gisting and use it to further interest my clients or teach. You know, while I'm teaching you, you probably connect better, or you can understand what I'm saying a little better because I am gisting. So don't feel like every single skill has to exist independently and then you have to zero in on that skill. Instead, what you can now do is use it as a supporting striker to make you stand out and, you know, be special. So remember that the things that are going to make you unique are not always going to just be the things that you can do. Back to Nishin, again, one more time before I close with a story. Back to Nishin, if you're multi-talented like me, don't feel the need to do everything at once. So a lady once reached out to me and said, oh, Blessing, I'm an accountant. I studied accounting and everything, blah, blah, blah. Now, you know, during this COVID, I picked up graphic design and now I want to, you know, major in graphics, but I still really love accounting. What should I do? So I'm like, this is such a, let's call it a, because I have like 4 ways I say it. So there's the Rihanna strategy, Kanye strategy, Chris Brown strategy, and one other one. So, but like, let's talk about it like this. So she's talking to me and she's really, really passionate and she's really, really sad, you know, like these are things I really, really want to do, but I don't know how to go about it. And here's the thing. She could combine those skills. She could have, like, because most accounting people just throw numbers in your face and it's often boring. So you have design skills. Why not design the numbers, you know, make pretty graphs, do interesting things so that your own presentation of your accounting work will then be, you know, more unique, more special than other accountants. So when people are asking you, oh, what makes you special? You would be able to say, I can visually represent numbers in ways that are, you know, appealing. And that's what makes you special in that job that you're really trying to apply for. So don't always think that everything exists independently. Sometimes you can marry things together. I call this the Chris Brown strategy because Chris Brown can draw, he can act, he can dance, he can sing, he can do all these things, and he calls himself an entertainer, as opposed to, oh, I'm a singer and a dancer and an actor and a this and a that and a that. So figure out, are there things that I can marry together? If yes, what is the group word that I can use to describe that thing? Or should I put it together and say the visual accountant, right? So that's one way. The second way is to do what I already told you, which is to use it as a supporting skill to make your business thrive better. The third way is the Rihanna strategy, which is start with one, build trust there, and expand into other things. So start with one. If you're really, really good at something right now, but you want to do something else, you could use your staircase strategy, which is what I call the Rihanna strategy, to expand. So Rihanna started with music, finished with music. Well, she didn't finish, but like at some point in her music career, she said, let me show these people who I am. I can act. And she went and she acted. Guess what? We watched. Then she finished acting. She was like, I'm tired. Let me show these people that I'm a businesswoman in the makeup industry. And she created Fenty. And Fenty expanded from just being makeup into like now lingerie and nice wears and things like that. Why am I telling you all this? Once you build trust in a certain space, it is easier to transfer that trust from there to other places. So if you know you're the kind of person who doesn't have the mental space to be able to execute 2 things at once, just start with one. Let's trust you on that one. And then you can carry us along into the next level of your life. The fourth way now, the fourth way would be the Kanye strategy. So Kanye's strategy is simply be really, really good at one thing, but make the second one a business that has a separate name from you. So Kanye is Kanye. Kanye is a musician. Kanye is a crazy, proud musician. And he still is a designer. It's just that the designer is not Kanye. The designer is Yeezy by Kanye. So if you find out that there are 2 opposing things that you want to do, you could create a different brand identity for the second one that could be led by other people. You could employ staff, you could have all these other people who are doing it for you. And then, you know, that would have a separate identity from you. Must every brand have a logo? Quick question. I would answer this really quickly. No, if you are a personal brand. Yes, if you are a business. So personal brand, when you hear my name, Blessing Abeng, the first thing that pops in your head is my face. A lot of you here even know that I have a logo. I've never probably seen my logo. Not because I am not flushing it in your faces. It's just because it doesn't mean anything because my face is already there. However, with businesses are not human beings, even if they're trying to be like human beings. They still need a face. So when you think about KFC, you think about that Kentucky guy. When you think about Apple, you think about that Apple fruit. When you think about different types of brands, something comes to your mind. We need something to be able to identify you by. That's why it's called an identity, something that is recognizable by the people who want to patronize you, right? And so since that is super important, you need to have a logo as a business, but as a personal brand, not so much. You can always use your name in any font that matches your personality and you'll be good, right? It's not by force. People might argue with me, but that's the truth. Based on my experience of what I've seen, doesn't do anything for anybody. Your signature can be your logo. Nobody will beat you. Yeah, so moving on from that, the last thing that I want to say to you, and I really hope that in the midst of all my gist and my story, you've been able to pick one or two things that would be able to help you find your unique identity. But this is the final thing that I want to tell you. During the lockdown, I listened to a story. Somebody randomly sent me a story on WhatsApp. It was about this woman who, was sharing her experience as a cleaner. She's not a cleaner anymore, but when she was a cleaner, she used to go to houses, and clean houses for a living. And every time she was done, as she's trying to catch the bus, she would look at women who looked very much like her target audience and ask them questions. Key points in case you missed it. Number one, always take feedback. That's what she's doing here. So she would ask questions and be like, oh, what do you think about this thing? What do you think about my cleaning? What do you think about how I clean? What do you like about, how would you like your house to be cleaned better? And again, another question, another bracket in this story. I know I'm not making you enjoy this story because I'm stopping. I don't want anybody to miss it. But sometimes you think you know your target audience, but you don't really. You need to have conversations with them to really, really know what they want. A lot of clients know what they want, but they cannot articulate it. In fact, most people cannot articulate what they want, but when they see it, they know. And one of the craziest quotes I hear is if I'd asked people what kind of what they needed, they would probably have said faster horses. I would say that person wasn't really listening, because if you were listening, you would have heard them say faster. And faster just means I need to get from point A to point B faster. So that's right there was the main point. So if you make bicycles, you make planes, you make whatever, I am going to pay for that thing because it's taking me from point A to point B faster, right? So back to the story, this woman is asking people, please, how can I clean your house better? What do you want? What do you want in your cleaner? How would you like your house? And all these people are suggesting use the soap, use this dishwasher, use this sponge, buy Mama Blue, buy all those things. Yeah, if possible. Just suggesting random things. And there's this woman who every day on the bus never really speaks. And she noticed the woman and she walks up to her and she's like, oh, I noticed she never really speak when I ask all those questions, but I really want to ask you, what do you think I can do to clean better? And guess what this woman said? Clean the lights. Nobody ever cleans the lights. Everybody sweeps. Everybody does everything. You finish sweeping, the dust will rise up and cover the bulbs. Nobody ever cleans the lights. And the bulb, it's now covered with dust. So the house is nice and everything, but there is a healing beauty that comes with a place being better lit. And so this girl really immediately after that day, the next day, her next client, she went and she finished cleaning. And then that was the last thing she did. She cleaned the lights. Her client came back and was like, oh, wow, what did you do to this place? Everywhere is so bright, it's so airy, so shiny. And to be honest, all she did that was really different, because this woman had been her client for a while. All she did that was really different was that she cleaned the lights. So I know that the woman who was sharing this story on that WhatsApp was really trying to tell me something else. In fact, when she finished that part of the story, I think I turned it off, because she was trying to talk about something else that did not connect to what the message I had just received. And that message was simple, that the thing that might make the whole difference might be something really small, very obvious, but nobody else is doing it. And so you don't always have to be looking for one grand, unique selling point that, or want to invent this app, want to buy new soap. The soap we're doing is record breaking. It has CH compound 203. No, it might just be one very obvious thing that everybody else is overlooking. So look for the things that are obvious, things that very, very obvious, but like people are not doing it. And then just commit to doing that one little thing that would probably make all the difference. So first note you're going to learn is, she actually implemented what's the advice that she took. And then second thing was that she actually cleaned the lights, and that changed her life wherever, everybody started booking her. She started getting great testimonials, and, her life changed. So for you, my challenge to you is this: figure out what the lights are in your industry, in your life, clean them, and see how much change it brings to your life. See how much change it brings to your clients. And, those things may not be very, very obvious, but they're the things that people overlook. Find those things and, make a change. That's how you stand out. That's all from me, folks. If you have any questions, I'm right here ready to take your questions.
Thank you so much, Blessing. So yeah, we have some questions, and I'll just shoot it to you first before Ket. So someone is asking, what is the difference between a brand and branding?
So a brand is the thing that has already been branded. And branding is the process. And here's the thing: branding never stops. Branding is a lifelong thing. Brands are supposed to evolve. So brand is the entity that is being branded, and then branding is the process of branding that entity. However, maybe the question you want to ask is branding similar to packaging? Packaging is just a part of visual identity under branding. Now, let me give you a story to help you understand that a little better again. So imagine this friend of yours calls you up and it's like, oh, who asked the question? What's the name of the person who asked the question? Because I have to use their name as an example.
Wando. Yeah.
Wando. Okay. Yeah. Wando or Wando?
Wando.
Okay, Wando. So
L-A-N-D-L-E.
Perfect. So Lando. Okay, perfect. I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. Just bear with me. Like you spelling it doesn't help because I'm still seeing this thing. Oh my God, I'm sorry. So let's assume Lando, your friend calls you me. I'm your friend, by the way, in this story. I call you up and I'm like, oh, hi. I have this amazing gift for you. It's going to blow your mind. You have no idea, going to surprise you. And you're like, oh, what's the surprise? I'm like, wait for it. Just chill. I'm going to have to surprise you. And then you're just there chilling. One big Amazon truck just pulls up in front of your house. And then everybody's gathering to see, what's this Amazon truck bringing? And then there's just humongous gift. You don't bring out your phone because you have to tell the whole of Instagram that Blessing, your friend, just sent you a big gift that is so big 7 Amazon staff had to carry it. Your mind is passing through like, what is this? Could it be a car? Could it be like some big cake? What is this gift? You have to just be saying and everything. And just like, you open it up, you tear the first wrap, open it, there's another smaller gift, you open that one. And then just like after tearing like 4 wraps and everything, all these beautiful, stunning wraps that you have taken videos of, this dirty rag that is just like, it just drops out of the pack. And that's all that was in the gift, that dirty rag. How would you feel, really, in all honesty? You guys, tell me in the chat box, how would you feel if that was you? You were Lando and this was me. After all this, my promise is just one dirty, raggedy dress that I've sent you. That isn't all that great, How would you really, really feel? Upset is the word, horrible is the word. I will be so mad. I am going to cut Blessing off, not my Blessing, but cut Blessing off. Like, how dare Blessing send me such horrible gifts, That's what I'm going to do. And that's what a lot of businesses do. They focus too much on the packaging that they don't realize that there are other facets of your brand that people are interacting with. So listen, your brand is who you are. At every point, your customer interacts with you. Every time their footprint meets you, it's like, who are you? So on social media, are you the same as the person I meet in the store? Do you tell me you're luxury on social media and then when I come to your store, you're very raggedy? No. Is your customer service shitty while you're telling me you're the nicest person in the world? All those things matter. Your staff and the values you're projecting have to match. You can't be a vegetarian brand and be hiring staff that eats meat. There's a problem because they will never understand what your company is trying to do. So you have to pay attention to every single part of the business, which is why I tell people that branding is not logo. Branding is not the font, it is not the color, it's not the logo. It is everything coming together. Both how you speak, the credibility, the kind of people you partner with, the kind of people you hire, the way you present yourself, how you package, how you connect, how you treat your customers, how you send your emails. Is more even in the how than the thing that you're doing, because people can read in between the lines. So while you're undergoing your process of branding, don't just focus on the material visual things, but also focus on, is my product fulfilling the promise that I said it would fulfill? Am I keeping the promise that if I said I am going to, change your life, am I really changing their life every step of the way? If I say that I am luxury, am I helping them feel luxurious every time they interact with me? Do they get champagne every time they hang out? Do I deliver their stuff in a limo? You see, I hope you get the point.
Thank you so much, Blessing. I was busy taking notes. Yes, there's a question for you. So what advice will you give? Sorry, my kids are having a blast. What advice would you give to someone with limited resources looking to build their brand? And are there keys to prioritize?
Yes. The very most important thing you must prioritize is, number one, only make a promise that you can keep. That's the most important thing. So I have worked with a couple of brands. I know I have a lot of big names that I have worked with, but there are also some people that I've worked with who didn't have a lot of budget, which was really important to me. It was really important for me to do, so that I wouldn't just come here and teach you all about advertising. Because once you're rich, you can advertise your way out of problems. You could, sign on celebrities and move on. But one of the brands I recently managed was Disha. I was actually co-founder of that product and CMO as well. We were helping people build one-page sites. And oh my God, we grew 100% increase every single month with 0 naira budget. And how did we do that? We leveraged on building community. We just knew exactly what we wanted to, we knew who exactly we wanted to talk to. And the next thing for us was, what could we do for these people that tied back to our products, that could help them, that could help make their lives easier. So we wanted to target creators, right? And in targeting creators, it means creators they have a lot of problems. They're looking for bigger creators who can mentor them. They're looking for ways to navigate the business of creating. They're looking for, information that they can consume and quickly apply, and so we were leveraging on all of these things to just help make their lives easier. And because we were doing that, we started building a community of people who trusted us, who knew that we had their best interest at heart. And it was just so much easier. So don't just feel like, oh, I'm a fashion brand, I only have to post my clothes and say small, medium, large on our page. You could do more. You could tell me how I can find jeans that are my size without necessarily wearing them, how to dress for my body type, how to know the best colors for my tone, my skin tone. You could allow me ask you questions that you would actually answer on your page. When I finally buy your product, you can feature me on your page. You could gist with me about my experience with you, and we a lot of times then we ignore the power of our customers and the power that they can wield as micro influencers, because if one customer is satisfied, and which is why I started with, you must keep the promise. So once you've satisfied one customer, it's easy for that customer to come and tell people about you. It's easy for that customer to want to gist with you. Wave Apps, the invoicing brand, reached out to me one time and said, oh, hi, Blessing, did you enjoy using our product? I was like, yes. And they're like, oh, we'd love to feature you on our IWD. It was a no-brainer. I was willing to jump on it and say, I'll do this for you guys because, I really, really love you. And I did not lie. I just said exactly how they made me feel. So if the experience is terrible, you cannot come and force me to, sorry, I'm speaking like a Nigerian a lot. It's just, isn't me, it's in my body. Yeah, so you can't force me to, come and say nice things about your products when all I've had is bad experiences. So ensure that you make a promise that you can keep and then keep it. That's all, consistently.
Okay, thank you.
I think.
Sorry. One more thing. Yeah. The chances that you're going to miss keeping your promise, like there are times where the world is going to affect your ability to keep that promise. And so those times, what you have to do is over communicate. So maybe because of some tailoring experience, you couldn't deliver the clothes that they just ordered on time. Don't wait for me, the customer, to come and ask you. You know, I booked a driver. I'm sorry I use a lot of examples, but I feel like even if you don't remember what I said, you remember the gist. So that's why. So my driver recently just had like a ghastly accident. So I paid for this guy, not my personal driver, like I just paid a guy to drive me around for a month because I didn't want to drive. And he, just like 1 week after he started driving me around, he had a ghastly accident, terrible accident, like almost ruined his car. And the first thing he did when he got down from the car was, on the spot, he took a video and sent it to me first. He was crying in the video, you know, he was crying in the recording he sent to me. He was really, really sad and distraught and whatnot. But he had time to still, after sending that video, he didn't just stop there. He called a friend of his to come and pick me up and still take me around. And I didn't expect it. So I was just so emotional. I ended up fixing the car for him because I just like, oh, you still, in the midst of all of your distress, found a solution for me. That makes you genius and special. So I'm not going to just treat you badly. I'm going to help you out. And so if you see that there are problems that are out of your control, bribe me with gifts. Tell me the problem. Hello, a tailor just did this. We're so sorry. We're working on a fix, but till then, could you maybe, please, we would give you 50% discount. We will give you an extra shawl. We will do this for you. We will send you a complimentary couple of cupcakes. We will just, just find something, do something, bribe us a little bit, but then always communicate, keep us in the loop. Don't run, don't hide, don't not pick our calls, which we tend to do a lot. But like, don't do that. Just like talk.
Yeah, thank you, Blessing. Kat, do you want to answer as well?
Sure. I just, so I think, Blessing, you touched on it a bit. Khetsiwe was asking that with limited resources, how she builds her brand. So part of it is, knowing who your customer is truly. And then that's when you find it easiest to communicate with them. Once you know who they are, what needs they have, and what need you are solving for them. And in terms of how you prioritize, once you have those answers as what are you solving, right? And then where's my customer found? So if my customer is predominantly on Instagram, well, that's where you can chat to. If you're putting up a digital marketing budget and you know where they lie, then focus your efforts where your customer is. And another thing with customers is that find that unique point. With my team, when we look at Africa, the one thing we do, part of it is brand experiences, is that we really want to do things that people don't do. So anything that people say, oh, but this isn't found in Swaziland because we're too small. Well, we want to do it. So going that extra mile for your customer, being that constant touch point that is above and beyond what everyone else is offering, because you've got to remember, as much as you believe in your brand and what you're offering, there's so many people offering multiple things to your customers. So you want to make sure that they choose you for the right reason, and you need to be able to clearly articulate that. Going right back into the 4 C's and looking at that, is it clear? Is it simple? Is it easy for your story to be told? And once you communicate that, your customers will come back. They'll be giving the testimonials about your business and about your brand, and you'll be able to grow your communities.
Yeah, thank you, Kat. So does anyone else have any questions? Or I hope I didn't miss any questions in the chat. Okay, so there's a question. Blessing, maybe you can take this. How do you detach yourself from your brand?
Okay, so this happens a lot when you started the business on your own and then now you have to give it to someone. So one of the easiest ways to do this is to build structure around it. One of the things I do a lot is if I notice that there is something that I've tried and seems to be working, I make it into a structure. Like I put it in a document and I say, this is how it's supposed to be, right? And doesn't mean like everybody has to be rigid and follow it like that. It just means like there is a contingency plan. So even if I'm not there, you can totally run without me. And your goal as any business owner should be able to build a business that runs without you. So we have brand strategy documents that engulf our personality, tone, voice, how we speak, adjectives that describe us. So the first time you join us, you have to read all of that brand identity document, brand strategy document rather, and you have to understand where the brand is coming from and be sure that you really get it, And then I also try to ensure that everybody, just so we don't have key man risk, there is always somebody understudying under somebody. So as opposed to like me just like saying this is what you're good at and then go ahead and do it and be excellent, I always try to ensure you have an intern working under you, somebody who can shadow you if you're not there and all of that. But also remember, especially if the personality of the brand is not in line with your personality, be very aware of that and understand that it's not about you, it's about your customers and what's best for your customers. So don't let your ego sort of shroud the success of the business. If you see that there is somebody else, I mean, look at the only reason why Apple made as much money as it made was because Steve Woz was brilliant enough to step back and let Steve Jobs run the marketing. So if you understand your place and what you're supposed to be doing, and everybody else understands their place and what they're supposed to be doing, up to your cleaner, like your cleaner has to know that I clean this place because this is what it does for our customers. It's super, super important. Good example would be a TV. I was watching the news one time. I was watching CNN one time, and then this American customs lady comes on TV, and she's just being like so passionate and all that. I'm just annoyed. I'm very upset because like I know that I'm not speaking on behalf of all Nigerian customs, but like a lot of my customs people in my country are not very like that. So I'm just like, why is someone so passionate about her job? Is her job not just to be stopping us on the road and checking our bags in the airport? Why is she shouting? And then she just went on to explain how her negligence could cost the economy a big chunk of their GDP. That there was a time pests came into America and destroyed XXX amounts of crops, and next thing you know, the GDP drops because somebody brought in something that generated the pest that then eventually now affected their GDP. So therefore, it is a big responsibility on her to ensure that her company and the source of their livelihood is protected. And I'm like, how did you get that from being a custom officer? So you have to think about what is the role that everybody is playing here, and how do they tie in, and understand that you can't be everything. So let other people do it and don't stand in the way of the success of your business. So document, have structure, and let everybody know what they're doing. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Okay, thank you, Blessing. So Kets, there's one more question for you. I'm sure you've read it in the chat. So I would like to understand how one would review a message before it goes live to determine its ability to cut through, thus getting some assurance on its potential of being correctly landed.
Okay. So first of all, your message must be authentic and true to your brand. It must be unique. So it mustn't be, if like I made the example of Nike and their advert, you don't want it to be the same. You want someone to look at it and say, oh, that's true to Adidas. So having authenticity, be able to pack a punch. Remember I said that it must have some certain call to action, evoke an emotion, make a person want to go out and buy or feel some sort of way about your brand. And then that will then make it easily linked back to your brand. So make sure it's authentic, easily linked to your brand, and it's unique.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. So Blessing, someone is asking, how can they learn more about the brand strategy document? So do you have any products that you sell that?
I have a few products, different things. I had to break them down because I realized that like not everybody has the same problem. So I have an audience discovery workbook. I have a content strategy workbook. I have a self-discovery workbook. And I am working on a branding course that is coming out in March. So you could follow me on Instagram or join my mailing list so that as soon as it drops, you're the first to know. But you could also just get all of these other resources that could, point you in the right direction. And, I have so many resources. I could just share all my resources. Well, most of my resources with the team, and then they'll be able to disperse, if that helps.
Okay. And some of them would cover the strategy. Okay.
A good chunk. Not completely, but like well enough.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Kets and Blessing. You've been amazing.
Thanks for having me.
We've learned so much. And so we will share the recording after. So just look out for that to everyone's email if you need to rewatch it and take a few notes. And take notes and, I guess, take it all in. But thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciated Kets and Blessing.
Thank you.
And please, everyone, if you really enjoyed the session, you can post it on your Instagram, tag us at Kobikam Africa, tag the speakers as well. Just show some love.
Oh, one quick one.
Thank you so much for
You
having
guys,
me.
all three of us are going to smile now. So take a screenshot of this beautiful smile we're about to, do for you guys, and then post it with one thing you learned from this session, and tag Kobikam and any of the speakers who said it. So 1, 2, 3, I'm smiling. Screenshot, guys. All right, I'm done. My cheeks hurt.
Okay. Thanks, Blessing. Okay, thank you, everyone. So see you next week for the finance session. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, Ijoma.